Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode, we're going to be trying to install Linux on the PlayStation 2 using none other than Sony's official Linux kit. That's right, this right here was an official offering from Sony released back in 2002 that allowed you to turn your PlayStation 2 into a fully functional desktop computer. Now I've been wanting to make this video for a while and I started looking a while back for a copy of this official CD set right here over on eBay, but I quickly found out that people are charging top dollar for this product right here. I found listings that went as high as $300, but then I got the idea to check the Japanese auction websites, and sure enough, I was able to find this copy right here in a listing that was going for a third of the price, around $100, and believe it or not, it included an entire Japanese PlayStation 2. That's right, I was blown away when I actually found this listing. Because this is going to really come in handy, because just like all other PlayStation 2 discs, this copy of Linux right here is region locked, and it can only be installed on a Japanese PlayStation 2. As you can see up here, it is NTSC-J, so it ain't going to work on a North American or European PS2 unless, of course, you bypass region locking, which I was originally going to do, but unfortunately the North American model that I have essentially requires you to install a mod chip, and that's something we could certainly do, but hey, this is going to be much easier. And yes, by the way, I am including the shipping charge. Even after paying the shipping fee, this was still cheaper than buying that $300 listing on eBay, but it was still, you know, a bit expensive, and that's why I want to thank today's video sponsor, Linode, for helping me purchase this and making this video possible. I'll be talking more about them later on, but before we do that, let's talk more about what you would get with this PlayStation 2 Linux kit, because Sony essentially included everything you need to use your PlayStation 2 as a desktop computer, aside from a monitor. First up, you got a PlayStation 2 branded USB keyboard. Very, very nice. You can see this is a Japanese keyboard because it actually went along with this PlayStation 2 right here. You also got a PlayStation 2 branded ball mouse. Very, very cool. You also got a VGA cable that could be plugged into the AV out port on the back of the PlayStation 2, and a hard drive, which, you know, certainly going to need one of those, right? But you also had to provide a couple of things yourself. You had to provide a monitor, obviously, and an 8 megabyte PlayStation 2 memory card, but chances are you probably had one of these already. Now, I do want to mention one other very important thing before we get started, and that is one of the major differences between this Japanese PlayStation 2 and my North American model right here, and that is the presence of the PlayStation 2 expansion bay. The PlayStation 2 expansion bay was an extremely useful component for the PlayStation 2 that allowed you to install a 3.5-inch IDE hard drive. This is a SATA drive right here, just imagine it's IDE. And you could use this hard drive with a handful of PlayStation 2 games that supported it for storing data and things like that. And you needed to have the PlayStation 2 network adapter, which had the necessary ports on the back to connect to the hard drive, and then it would plug right into this port up here, and it would sit nicely on the back. It would protrude a little bit, but that's how you would actually set this thing up and get it working. And if you would purchase the PlayStation 2 Linux kit here in the US, this is what you would get. You would get a 3.5-inch internal hard drive and the PlayStation 2 network adapter. But the expansion bay was not present on the original PlayStation 2 models, the models that were only released in Japan. Now, this is pretty typical for Japanese companies when they release a product or a game. It usually gets released in Japan first, and then it makes its way to the rest of the world after that. There are certain exceptions, certainly, but in most cases, that's the way it is. So by the time the PlayStation 2 was released here in North America, the expansion bay was a standard feature, but that wasn't the case with these initial versions here. And as an American, I didn't know this, but I was very surprised when I got this in the mail to see on the back, instead of the expansion bay, a PCM-CIA card slot. That's right. And inside of here, we have the early PlayStation 2 network adapter, which takes the form of a PCM-CIA card. So this is what you would get in the PlayStation 2 Linux kit if you purchased the earliest revision of it in Japan. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, how on earth do you install a hard drive in this thing? There's no slot for it, right? The answer is you don't. Instead, what you got was this really cool looking external hard drive. You would plug this external cable right here into the network adapter. So just like the later PlayStation 2 models, the hard drive here also required the network adapter to function properly. The later revisions were much nicer because, you know, it was much more compact. The hard drive was contained inside. It got power from the unit itself. You did not have to carry around this external power brick, right, to plug into the back of the hard drive, and it was also easily user replaceable. This external hard drive right here, though it looks cool, you see you got right here a warranty void if removed sticker, so if you wanted to replace your hard drive in here, if it died, you're going to void your warranty. We're going to be using this today to install our copy of Linux for the PlayStation 2 Release 1.0. Let's see how simple it really is. Alright, so we're just about ready to go here. I've not tested the hard drive. I've confirmed that the PlayStation 2 works. So we're going to test the hard drive here in a moment. And we're also going to test this very interesting cable here. This right here, you can see is a VGA cable, right? We can plug this into the monitor. And then these other three run to your standard composite connectors here. So yeah, there you go. So this is how you could connect it to a TV if you wanted to. You can see though, this white composite connector in particular has definitely seen better days. But let's see if this cable actually works. So we're gonna turn it back here and we're gonna plug it into the AV out here. And then let's plug this into the monitor here. We'll turn it on. And we got nothing. We really should not be seeing the test pattern here. So that's not, oh, wait. Oh, it's flickering. Is the connector just bad? Perhaps the connection is bad. But you know what connection isn't bad? Your connection to one of today's video sponsor, Linode's virtual servers. Yeah, I gotta put that one on my resume. Linode and Linux go hand in hand because they offer cloud computing services that you can use for just about anything. No PlayStation 2 required. Whether that be a personal website or even a game server, Linode's affordable hosting plans starting at just $5 per month can make it happen. But that only scratches the surface on what you can use them for, because if you can run it on Linux, even PS2 Linux, you can run it on Linode. And you don't have to deal with any long and complex setup processes either, thanks to Linode's app marketplace, which gives you a wide selection of applications and game servers that can be installed in just a few clicks. Take it from me, as somebody who has used Linode long before they even considered sponsoring a video here. But thanks to them, everybody watching this video right now can get a free $100 credit to test drive Linode for 60 days. That'll get you 2 months worth of a quad-core Linode with 8 GB of RAM and 160 GB of SSD storage for completely free. Just head on over to linode.com/michaelmjd and sign up for an account. And huge thanks again to Linode for supporting the channel. Alright everybody, here we go. We've got the PlayStation 2 hooked up, and we're going to get started with this. So, right here, we've got our copy of Linux, and there are 2 CDs, or DVDs rather, in here. One of them is the runtime environment, and the other one says software packages. So we're just going to start with disk number 1. The disk drive is a bit finicky. The motor is definitely going bad in it. This is what I've not, like, from here on out, I've not tested anything else. I've not tested if the hard drive works. I've not gone through this installation process, so I am experiencing this for the first time with you guys. And there it goes, it just automatically started to boot up from the disk. Now, the hard drive is really interesting to me because we got no signal temporarily here. Does it only output over VGA? You know, I think the reason why the VGA signal wasn't working before is because it's not outputting a VGA signal when it's on the PS2 menu. And yet right here, I have a feeling that it's outputting a VGA signal. So that makes sense why this cable here is the way that it is and why it has both composite and VGA. Alright, yeah, it turns out I was right. So right now it's only outputting a VGA signal. So we are going to, I assume the keyboard is, yep, so now we're controlling it with the keyboard here. So we're just gonna install it here. The HDD, the memory card, PS2, and a USB keyboard are needed for installation. Make sure they are properly installed in the console. Okay, so now we gotta insert disk 2 to load data. Okay, so we'll eject this. Take out disk number 1, so let's grab disk number 2 here, which is the software packages DVD. Oh, and there we go, loading. Perfect, alright. Oh, now we gotta, okay, we gotta put disk 1 back in. Alright, mildly interesting. So we'll put in disk number 1. I almost said diskette number 1. I've been living in the 90s for the past couple videos, so, alright. Disk number 1 is back in. Now, what I'm really interested in figuring out is how this hard drive works, because there aren't any buttons or switches on it at all to power it on. And okay, we got it faded to a green screen there. And oh, there we go. And okay, yep, the hard drive just came on. So we gotta choose a language. The screen is a bit like finicky here. It's really jittering, and I honestly think that's because of the connection. I don't think this cable is the greatest. I think that definitely this is caused by that cable, since I've just reset all settings on the monitor and it's doing the same thing. Let me just check and make sure it's seated properly. Alright, so good news, I got it to where it's not jittering anymore. But you can see it is considerably green. Let's see if we can go to color settings, and let's lower the green maybe a little bit. Alright, so we're good at least for now. So let's go ahead with English. That's wonderful. What type of keyboard do you have? Well, we do have a Japanese keyboard, but it is a standard QWERTY keyboard, just with Japanese characters printed on the bottom right of the keys. So we could just go with... let's just go with the US keyboard layout. Okay, we got to put back in disk number 2. Okay. But yeah, so the hard drive just automatically comes on when the system needs it to. So that's nice. There's no, like, it's not going to be constantly on when you're like playing a game, for example, that doesn't use it. Welcome to PS2 Linux, or Elcom, because it's slightly cut off there. And there we go, welcome to PS2 Linux. This installation process is outlined in detail in the PS2 Linux software manual. Okay, so you got 3 options here: Window Maker Workstation, Server System, and Custom System. We're gonna go with Window Maker Workstation. Let's go ahead and use Disk Druid. Alright, so it looks like we've got 4 partitions on here. So we're just going to start from scratch. We're going to delete all these partitions here. So we'll tab down to our options here at the bottom. We're going to delete, and we're going to delete HDA1, delete HDA2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to add, we have to make a native and a swap partition. You see those are the 2 options there on the side. So we'll do the swap partition first. We'll just leave the mount point blank. We'll make the size 128 megabytes. We'll make this the swap partition, and there we go. And then we'll add another partition. We will make this a mount point. This will be the native partition, so we'll do mount point of /. And what we can do is just leave it at the default size there, and then just do this, grow to fill HDD. So the rest of the hard drive will be taken up by this partition. This will be Linux native. And there we go. Alright, so we hit OK. Save changes to the partition table, yes. What partitions would you like to format? We strongly suggest formatting all the system partitions. Okay. Now, checking for bad blocks. Honestly, we probably should check for bad blocks, because I have no idea what condition that this hard drive is in. Alright, host name of the console. We'll call this Linux Station. Ooh, really original name, right? And yeah, we're not going to bother with the network configuration. We'll just leave this as the default setting here. So it's going to ask us what time zone we're located in. We'll just select Japan here. Does Japan only have 1 time zone? I thought they had more than 1. Pick a root password. Okay, we'll do this as MJD. We'll make this ultra secure, right? Oh, must be at least 6 characters long. Okay, MJD, 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 MJD. There we go. And so now it's going to prompt us to create a user account that is not root, and we are getting some drive activity. We'll need to turn on swap space immediately to do this. We'll have to write your new partition table to the HDD immediately. If answer yes here, you cannot go back to previous steps anymore. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. So now it's going to, I assume, format the drive there. Yep, there you go. Formatting swap partition with bad blocks checking. It takes several minutes to complete, depending on partition size. Press Ctrl-Alt-5 to look what's going on. Oh, Ctrl-F5. And what's going on? Looks like a whole lot of nothing. At least we can't see anything, so we can go back to the screen here. All right, we're getting some drive activity now. Let me swap back over. There we go. So yeah, honestly, I mean, pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously, you have to know what all these options mean. I mean, I think partitioning the drive would be something that would be quite difficult for someone who has certainly never used Linux before, and that's why on Sony's website where they talk about this, they specifically say, like, you should know at least like a little bit about Linux and how to set up a Linux installation from scratch before you actually buy this. Alright, so we're at the formatting screen again. Let's do Ctrl-Alt-F5. Alright, yeah, checking for bad blocks, read-only test. But yeah, so far so good. Alright, so it's just about done checking for bad blocks. Definitely took a considerable amount of time. Okay, so now we're at the package installation screen. So now it's going to start copying everything over to the hard drive. Perfect. I mean, so far, guys, things are looking really good. Alright, good news. It was able to copy everything over to the hard drive without any problems, and now it's asking us to insert a memory card with no data into memory card slot 1. So we already have that in here, so we're just going to hit enter. Congratulations, installation is complete. Press the enter key to finish installation, then insert the disk 1 and restart the console. There we go, we just loaded off of the disk. So we're going to go over to, let's see if you can navigate on this screen with the controller. Yes, you can. Okay, so we're going to boot Linux on memory card, PS2. Okay, and there goes the hard drive. Looking good, guys. Looking really good. Welcome to PS2 Linux. All right, Linux Station login. So my username was Michael, and my password was MJD. So we're just going to type in start X to load into the GUI. And what's really cool about this is the UI it has included. If it's like way off of the screen here. We're gonna have to change that. Alright, good news. I was able to configure the monitor properly. Again, the colors are gonna be an issue, but I've adjusted them to the best of my ability to make it so it's not as eye-straining to look at. But what I was saying earlier, you're probably thinking, oh, is this like Next Step or OpenStep? Like, what on earth? This looks exactly like OpenStep, right? Well, it's actually called Window Maker, and Window Maker, as it says, is a part of the GNU Step project. So this is a component of GNU Step, which was essentially an initiative to try and create an implementation of OpenStep, but it was completely free and available for anybody to use. And so that's what we are running here, and I think it's pretty cool just on that alone that it chooses to use Window Maker as its graphical environment here. So if you've used Next Step or OpenStep before, you'll feel right at home. So we can go through here, and one of the things we can do is launch. I believe this right here is the Window Maker preferences. And so this is where you can customize all sorts of components. You can change how certain things look. You can change how the UI behaves. And, you know, pretty useful. You would definitely want to go in here if you were planning on using this as a primary or secondary machine. I mean, you probably wouldn't use a PlayStation 2 as your primary computer, but I mean, hey, perhaps someone out there did who had literally nothing else and was able to get their hands on this kit. So, you know, you'd really want to spend time in here customizing this to your liking. But it's been a while since I've used Next Step and OpenStep. I don't own any Next hardware. I am constantly on the lookout for Next hardware, but you know, it is pretty rare to come by. But if I ever find a Next Cube or a Next Station out in the wild, you bet I'm gonna buy it if it's for a really good price. So if we right click here, we get our little applications menu. We can go to info, and let's open up the info panel. So this gives you more information about the version of GNU Window Maker that this is. This is version 0.61.1, and of course we have GIMP on here. I find this kind of funny. It's the only program here under graphics. So let's launch GIMP here. Let's see what version this is first of all. Let's see. So 1995 to 2000. Program is free software. And, okay, personal GIMP directory. Oh, it's actually installing it. Okay, so it hasn't even been installed yet. Okay. So we'll let it create our personal GIMP directory. And there it is, the GIMP, it says. Check out this old, like, logo here and the old type. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. Oh, this is a pre-release. Wow, this just got super interesting. So let's see what GIMP looked like back in pre-release version 1.2. Welcome to the GIMP. Nearly all image operations are performed by right-clicking on the image. And don't worry, you can undo most mistakes. Wonderful, that is our tip of the day here. Yeah, you got all your windows here, all your different components. You got your tools over here, tool options, brush selection. So let's go ahead and make a new document here. This is absolutely the thing you want to do when you spend all this time installing Linux on a PS2, is open up GIMP and just mess around with with what GIMP has to offer. So let's see here. Gosh, it's been a while since I've used GIMP. Yes, I'm a Photoshop user. So, you know, I mean, I know how GIMP works and everything, but it's definitely been a while since I've used it. So we'll expand this here a little bit. And let's say we want to start with a beautiful text layer. Oh man, check out all these fonts on here. Oh, beautiful. Let's go with Open Look Cursor. Selected font is not available. Oh, okay. So what fonts are available then? Let's go with clean. You know, we're gonna keep it clean on this channel, right? Let's bump that up to size 16, and we're gonna make this bold. And yeah, you know, I think that's looking good. Okay, so it wasn't able to find a font apparently. Okay, so maybe we can't use that font. All right, let's just try. Oh Lord. Okay, this is going real well, isn't it? Dingbats. Oh, selected font is not available. Well, then why is it in the list? Let's go with this one maybe. Well, I don't see any text, do you? Oh, there it goes. Okay, it just took a little while to process there. That's all good. Apparently, I've moved the entire document, like, off the screen. Alright, you know what? We're just gonna leave it there. And, okay, apparently I made 2 text layers there. And let's make a new layer. Or those are both on the background layer, actually, because I did not make a new layer. So we're going to make... oh, no, I don't want to make a copy of the background layer. I want to just make a new layer. And on this new layer, what are we going to do? We are going to get the brush tool, which is not that. And let's make this a wonderful, really light blue. And we're just going to say, look at how wonderful that looks. It is having trouble keeping up with me here. I want to drag... like down to make a J. Yep, okay, we'll just leave it like that. MJD. Oh, that's so good. Okay, we're gonna save this masterpiece. Dude, if that's not an NFT that I can sell for $20 million, I don't know what is. Oh my gosh, I'm totally putting this... No, just kidding. Oh, I did... Whoops, did not want to do that. Alright, so we got new and open, but we do not have a... Save. Let me just do Control S maybe. There we go. Okay, I was not able to find it's probably like, you know, somewhere, but anyways, we'll save this to, let's just do it in the home directory. That's fine, and we'll just call this NFT. Save. Oh, unknown file. Yeah, we gotta add an extension here. Let's save this as a PNG. Image should be exported. Okay, and that looks good to me. There we go, there's our wonderful NFT.png, and so now we can open that up if we want to. But yeah, one thing I am going to do is move GIMP over here to the dock. But yeah, the dock here behaves just like you know it in Next Step and Open Step. We can drag it off the screen to temporarily hide it. So let's see what else we got on here. We have KTerm for the terminal, so if we want to open this up, we can pin that over here. Oh yeah, and there's themes too. That's in the right-click menu here. I did want to point these out. So you go to Appearance here. You got themes and you got styles. So we can change this to, let's say, Open Step. And you see that'll completely change the theme here. It'll change the look of the windows a little bit. So we can go ahead and open up. Let's open up GIMP again. So we have something running while we're going through here. We got this window open. Let's go back here. Let's go to Appearance. Let's change that to Step 2000, and so there's how that looks. Yeah, some of these themes are pretty cool. So let's set that to checker, maybe. Oh, that's super nice. Oh my gosh, that is wonderful. Oh, that's great. Okay, Now let's go to styles here. Oh, that's just, okay, that's the style. So the themes incorporate a style. So you got more, yeah, so the themes are going to be pretty much just like in Windows, you know, how you've got themes and you got visual styles, and the themes will incorporate a visual style, but it'll also change other things. So you got that here. You got, you know, styles. You can change the style individually, the icon set. You don't have any other options. The background. Oh, can we make the background? I want to figure out how to make the background my beautiful image that I just made. And by the way, for those of you who don't know how this works, so when you right click on the desktop anywhere, it brings up this menu, and then when you right click when you're off of it, it goes away. But you can make it a permanent window by just clicking on the title bar here, and you see it adds this X here, and now you can move it around. And if you right click over here, you can see it will open up another one. So that's very useful if you want to have this permanently, which honestly we should. Let's go ahead and just leave it there. Icon background. Honestly, if we could make the icon background, like, can you actually add an image in here? Image texture. Oh my gosh. Don't tell me this is actually going to work. All right, it was under, I think it was under GNU step. Yep, there it is. Oh my gosh. This is actually going to work. Oh no. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So we literally have our stupid image. Oh my gosh, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Okay, what else can we screw up here? Menu items? How would this work? Oh yeah, there we go. It's gonna be on the menu items now. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so terrible. Okay, let's go to, okay. Oh yeah, title bar. Oh, let's make this the title bar of menus. It's just applied over there. Okay, window resize bar. We're just going through all these here. This is how Window Maker and Next Step and Open Step was designed to be used. Putting this awful graphic to literally cover everything. Okay, honestly guys, I think that I'm pretty happy with this. I'm immensely satisfied with with what we've done here. This is just so hilariously awful. And yeah guys, that I guess is gonna wrap it up for today's video here. That is installing Linux on the PlayStation 2 using Sony's official Linux kit. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, be sure to get subscribed down below, all that good stuff. And as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.